Hello, Lama from BarcoDev here and welcome to the third part of our Steam multiplayer tutorial series. In this part we will be creating the friend list where you can invite and join your friends. And by the way, if you want to save some time and get right into making the actual game you're planning to do and not waste time with multiplayer setup, you can get this whole template on our Patreon. So let's get right into it. The first thing we will have to do for the friend list is to create another widget blueprint. And we are going to call it wg_friend list item. Matter of fact, let's just create a folder for the friend list so we keep it a little bit more organized. And then we're going to open that. We will start with a little size box and go over here and hit desired so it does not fill the screen. And what we're then going to do is create the image, and for the brush and image size 32 by 32 is a little bit small, I think. 64 by 64 might work. And then we're going to hit right click on that, hit wrap with an horizontal box, and right next to the image we want text, which will be our player name, and we're going to hit right click on that, wrap with vertical box, because we're going to hit Control D to duplicate it, make that one like a little bit smaller. 20 will be enough, because that will be the status of the player. We are also going to give that vertical box a little bit padding. I think 10 might be too much, but might work. You're going to have to set the image to centered on both axes so it does not get stretched, because that will be the player profile later on. And now we're going to create a button which will be our join button, and to keep it clean we're going to give it a padding of 10 also, and just type in join over here. Perfect. And that's the friend list item. We are now going to turn these into variables. For image we're going to use emj and call it profile pic. It is variable. For the player name txt, player name variable, not add component, and the txt underscore status is variable. Hit compile, save, and also the button, almost forgot that, should be a variable as well. And the text in the button should be a variable as well, because we are going to use that widget for both the join friend list and the invite friend list, and the text has to be a different one. And now we're going to go into the graph and create some more variables we will need. The first one will be the friend info, which is basically all the info of the Steam friend you have. It's called bp friend info, and we're going to hit this little eye here and also activate expose on spawn so we can pass the friend info, because we will not get it over here, we will get it in the actual friend list. And also a boolean, if this is a invite item boolean, it will be exposed on spawn as well. And then we can delete these, hit right click, event construct, and now we're going to set some things. First we can set the profile pic, we'll get the friend info, break friend info, and also break the presence info. And we can get avatar, Steam friend avatar with the unique net ID. That's the first thing we will do. And now set the texture of the profile picture widget on success, and we can put it into here. Perfect. And we are also going to set the button text get set text. If it's an invite item, we can just select string. We can just pull out of the boolean, do select string, and if it's an invite item, so if that's true, we want to select invite. If it's not an invite item, so the normal state, we want to select join and just drag it into there. It's going to create a to text node. Just clean it up a little bit, like so. We're going to save that, and what we are also going to do is get the set the player text, player name text. So let's just get the display name of your friend info and drag it over here. And we're also going to set the text of the status. Actually, it's the presence state. We can just make toString, enum toString. And now we can put that into here. And we are also going to do, if you're playing this game, we are going to do a select string as well. And if you're not playing the game, we should pick the normal presence state and put it into here. And if we're playing the same game, we want to put in playing, so all the friends who are currently playing this exact game will be having a status of playing, so the player can actually know who's currently in game. And that's the initialization of the player item. And now we're going to create the join and invite logic. We are going to get our invite item boolean again, go create a branch, and if it's an invite item, what we are now going to do is to send a session invite. We can do that by getting our friend info again. We're going to do it down here. We're going to take out the unique net ID and session invite to friend, get player controller. And that's how we send an invite. And if it's not an invite item, if it's a join item, we want to do get the unique net ID and find the friend session. Get the player controller again, just down here, like so. And on success, we want to get the first first item of the session info array and join session. If something is found, get the player controller. And what we're also going to do is to change the button text 2 times, because once the join button was hit, we want to write joining, so the player gets some feedback when pressing the button. And if we successfully joined the session, we want to put it back to join. And if we fail to find something, or if we fail to join, we want to put it back to the join text as well. And what we also need to do, so the join button is not always visible, put a branch at the end of the construction pipeline and get the invite boolean. And if it's an invite friend widget, we don't need to do anything. But if it's a join widget, we will have to try to find the friend session. And we also have to get the player controller, put it into here, and obviously also get the friend info again, break it as always, and put the unique net ID into here. And if that's successful, we can get the button join, set visible, and on success it should be visible. And if that fails, we want to hide it. That just makes sure that the join button is only visible for friends who are actually joinable. We could also, I just want to mention that, use the isJoinable boolean over here, which would work better, but unfortunately at the moment some things have changed with the Steam subsystem and Unreal Engine 5.7. So if you're in a later version, I would recommend to try it with the isJoinable boolean. Then you would just use a branch over here instead of this. But at the moment that does not work, which is why we will have to use the find friend session and then hide it or make it visible, in case you were wondering. Perfect. So we can now go on and create the actual friend list, and we're going to do that by creating a new widget blueprint user widget wg_friend list and open it up. And what we're going to do in here is to create a scroll box, just like so, desired. And what I like to do, because we've just created the friend list item, just put some of these into here, because that just makes it a little bit easier to style everything, and it just makes it easier to work with. We're now going to create the variable for the scroll box with sb_friend list. Hit isVariable, compile, and then head to the graph editor. And in the graph editor, we are going to delete all of these, create event construct, and what we are now going to do is create a custom event for get friend list, and get friend list will be containing the logic to populate and getting the friend list. First of all, we can get the friend list, the Steam friend list, by dragging out of a get player controller node and typing get and store friend list. It's not the word object, that's wrong, wait. Get and store friends list, like so, and then drag the player controller into here. And we want to save the results as a variable, so you can just hit right click, promote to variable, and we're going to call it friends, but we are not going to set it right after we have triggered that. We're going to set it when it's successful. And what we're going to do now is to first of all clear the scroll box, because every time the friend list will be refreshed, we will have to delete all the old entries, and now we can populate it. What I like to do it as a sequence, because it makes it easier to sort it. If we first populate all the players we can join, then populate all the players which are online, and then populate the rest basically, which is why we're now going to drag out the friends array and make a for each loop, and then we're going to drag it into here. And now we're going to drag out of the array element and break BP friend info. Get the presence info, we're also going to break that. And we're going to create a branch for the first loop, because we are only going to populate it if the player is joinable, so all the joinable friends are at the top. And now we're going to create a widget class, friend list item. And because we have exposed these variables, we can now put the friend info, we can plug it into the for each loop. And the invite item, I forgot to create a boolean, not lister, it's just list. We're going to create the invite list boolean over here, which we are going to make public, so we can later on just switch it while we are designing our widgets. And if the invite list is on true, we want to put that on true as well. And what we are now going to do is take this scroll box and add a child, and the content will obviously be the widget we have just created. And we are also going to remove the friend we have just added by using the remove node and taking our friend info from all from over there into the remove node, and then we can save that, and now all joinable players will be populated. what we can do now to save them some time, just mark all of these nodes, hit Ctrl+C, copy them and put them down here, and then we will do that on the sequence on the second pin. But now we're going to add all the players which are playing the game currently, and we can do that one more time, like so. Put it in the third pin, like that, and we're going to populate all players who are online, because normally you don't want to populate every one of your Steam friends, only the people who are online, which is why we're going to stop here. You could add another pin over here and add the rest, like all the friend lists, even the people who are offline, but I'm not going to do that, so that's enough at that point. And that's basically the friend list. The only thing we will have to do now is on construct, we want to trigger the event once, and after that we are going to set timer by event, because the friend list should be refreshed once in a while. I like to, I don't know, take 20 seconds so it does not happen too often. Check looping, and then just put the event pin into this event, and now we've got a working friend list which will be refreshed every 20 seconds. So now we got these two, so we can head back into our play menu and go to this vertical box, minimize the horizontal one, and select the friend list, put it into here, and as you can see, it already looks like that. We can compile, save, and if we now close that, start, we will see that the friend list is over here, but it's not populated with our Steam friends, which is because we're not starting in standalone. We're going to do that now, so Steam is actually initializing, and all my Steam friends will be populated into the friends list. And that now looks like that. That's not good. The scroll box is not working. Let's fix that real quick. And we're going to fix that by going into the play menu, going to the friend list and wrapping it with a size box. And now we're going to set the max desired height to like 600. Save that, and while we're at it, you can also go into the friend list item again, click on the button, align it to the left side and click fill, and that will help make it look a little bit cleaner. And if we now go ahead and start in the standalone mode, we will see that the friend list will actually work. Be inside of the scroll box will work. There's no join button for the players I can't join, and it looks a little bit better. I can demonstrate really quick what it would look like if we can join the player, because if I go over here and change that to visible and then start again, that would look like that. So you have your friends over here and you've got the join button, but obviously it's only visible if you can actually join the player. So let's change that back so I don't forget it. But that's how the friend list works, and we can even try something else just to demonstrate it. Go into the play menu, and we have exposed the invite button. So if we now compile, save, and it's an invite list, and the invite list will look just like that. The invite button will obviously not work in the main menu, but that's wanted, and that's simply because we are not in a session. And in the next episode we are going to implement that same list into the pause menu, which we will be creating for the lobby, so you can actually invite your friends to the game.